Hello, I'm Alex Kochihon, so I'm going to introduce about our project. So the title of project is Difficulty of Initiation main campus student to use English fluently in their daily communication. So before we begin, I would like to introduce our member. So first, our leader, Tai Jun Yong, and me, Alex Kochihon, Daniel Bun Jin Yao, Hong Yong Yao, Yong Li Fang, and Adityan Nadaraki Ampalakan. So first, I'm going to introduce about the background of study. So why we do this research? Because we think that most of university students are facing difficulty to communicate effectively by using English with other people. And this research is going to investigate what factors lead to the difficulties and how are we going to improve the overall level of command in English of the THL main campus student. So why is this study important? So as this study, it will improve overall level of UTHM pre-graduate to communicate in English, and it will provide suggestion and recommendation to improve the overall level of English of UTHM student. So as a short example, when student and lecturer knows the main cause and obstacles to cause them to speak English effectively, they can provide a solution together by having the result of this study, and they can use the result to provide a solution together to improve the overall communication level of the students. So that's all for me.
About the finding and discussion, for this figure it shows the respondent on English communication level. Okay, from able to speak fluently in English, most respondents agree with this statement. Besides, they have two same data which is neutral or and strongly agree for this statement. For the can use English to communication effectively with other and seldom makes pronunciation mistake. Both neutral agree and strongly agree have the same data, which is 13. And for the next, most of the respondents agree for can understand English easily, and the following is strongly agree with this statement. Lastly, the delivery information accurately have most respondents strongly agree with this statement. From this figure, we can know it most of the respondents know and able to speak English fluently, but they also have made some mistaken. Besides, because in Malaysia we need to learn English since our primary school, so most of them will know English. Most of them have the basic English communication skill.
Hi madam, my name is Yong Li Fang. I'm come from FSKTN, and today I'm going to discuss the result of the section C, which is please rate your perspective toward English. There are total 5 questions in this section, and for the first question, for the first, second, third, and fourth question, most of the respondents agree that English is important, learning English is easy, communicating in English is hard, and English is hard to understand. And for the last question, most of the respondents having the neutral perspective towards the question of English is complex and complicated. So for the overall, most of the respondents think that English is very important and learning English is easy. But surprisingly, for some respondents, they think that communicating in English is hard, and they do not agree that English is very hard to understand. They do agree that English is hard to understand, complex, and too complicated. It can be indicated that maybe when learning English, student does not put too much effort and does not pay attention during the English lecture. They regret learning English is hard, but in fact, this depends on student on perspective toward effective learning. Thank you. That's all from me.
I'm from SSKTM. I'm going to discuss about the obstacle to communicate in English. From the figure above, we can see we are setting 5 obstacles to let respondents the choice which is the most obstacle for them to communicate in English. First is does not have a good environment. Second, people tend to reply in mother tongues when they communicate in English. Third is afraid of making mistake when communicating in English. Fourth is lack of vocabulary, and last, lack of confidence. From the figure, we can see that most of the respondents does not agree about does not have a good English environment is the main obstacle to them to communicate in English, because when the environment is like all the people is talking in mother tongue, then they will feel like no motivation to communicate in English. And then second, they also think lack of vocabulary is also the main obstacle to them communicate in English, because when we communicate with people in English, if we don't have the vocabulary to say the word out, then we will like end up the communication like no talk, like nothing. So, and then third is people tend to reply in mother tongue when talking and communicating in English. When we ask people something or talk something using English, people will mostly tend to reply in mother tongue. So we also, when they reply in mother tongue, we also will feel like okay, then we also reply in mother tongue. So we are end up the communication with mother tongue. And then last is lack of confidence, because we are not confident to say fluent English, so we are most like talking in mother tongue. That's all for the discussion about the obstacle to communicate English. And then we are moving on to discuss about what are the motivation for the respondent choose to communicate in English. Thank you.
Graph criteria that the motivation for students to improve their English communication skill. First is to improve individual command of English. Second, to provide themselves with a better opportunity. Third, communicate effectively with other races and other country peoples, and participate English campaign. Last, to understand the content of English lecture. So for the first criteria, to improve individual command of English, most of them is agree and strongly agree for that. And for the second, provide self better opportunity, they also have the same opinion with the first one. And for the third, to communicate effectively with others races and country people, they do have the same perspective with others. It's also shows in the others last two factors, which is participate in English campaign and understand content of English lecture. So for the graph, they showed that most of the participants, they do have the intent and motivation to learn the English language better and to have a better English communication skill.
Most of our respondents agree that they have a good command in English. They also agree that English is a very important language in the coming future. Although that they said that they have a good command in English, they also agreed that English is a very difficult language to learn. They do not have this is because they do not have the suitable environment to learn the English language, and also they do not have the motivation to improve them in speaking English better. Therefore, we came up with a few recommendations. First off is conversation in English. We have to keep practicing in English because speaking in English, because practice makes perfect. We cannot be shy, and we have to keep on practicing our speaking. Next is speak to someone who has a higher English communication level. For example, the best example would be your English lecturer. They have learned and studied the proper way, and they have the correct pronunciation. So the more you speak with them, the more you can get your grammar corrected, you can get your pronunciation correct. If you're shy to talk to your English lecturer, you can go on to talk to your friends or your peers who you believe that they have a good command in English. Or you could go and look for your friends who have a high band in Nuet. They could also help you too. Next is one way, a very good example to improve an English speaking is practicing speaking in English in classrooms. So you have to have like this urge to learn the English language speaking to improve it. So this way, by practicing in class, not only that you're improving yourself, you're working together with your peers and your friends and motivating each other to speak in English. So you guys can make mistakes together and then learn from that mistakes. This is a very good way to improve our English language speaking skills. That's all. Thank you.